Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty enthusiast that loves to talk about everything dealing with beauty and makeup, and today, y'all know I love foundations, and I just had to compare Girl Beautiful Skin with the new NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. And we don't stop there. I am also comparing, oh, here they go, the Dior No Powder Powder against the new shade of the NARS Light Reflecting Powder. Y'all, this is gonna be good. So stay tuned for all of that. So I will be wearing all of this on my face for a minimum of 8 hours. And of course, I will share with you my thoughts at the end of the day. I will be showing you what the foundations and the powders look like in multiple light settings so that you can see what they look like and determine which one is best for you. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it, and let's get right into this video. Okay. So if you're interested in the eye look that I've created, I did a Reels on Instagram. I will link that down below. And you know, if you're not following me there, go on ahead and follow me there. I would really love and appreciate that as well. I'm almost at 10,000. I am less than 100 followers away to 10K on Instagram. So I would love if you would just consider following me there as well. Okay, I have done individual reviews on both of these foundations, so I will link those for you. Go ahead and check those out if you want to see how they perform at the end of the day in and of their own. But first, getting into the application of the Charlotte Tilbury, this is the Beautiful Skin Foundation. I have the shade 10N. This comes in, I can't remember the exact shades, but I know that we have definitely over 30 shades of this foundation. I do wear 10N in her airbrush foundation, and so I do think the shades are quite similar. This foundation in a nutshell is going to hydrate the skin, make it look very beautiful. We're going to diminish fine lines and wrinkles and just give us an overall beautiful skin, flawless finish. So I applied this with the Songeji Jumbo Base Brush. It blends in so smoothly, looks very nice on the skin, and has a really good solid medium coverage with a natural to radiant finish, I would say. Getting into the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. This foundation, I do wear the shade Cadiz. Thank you to the person who let me know the correct pronunciation of the foundation, and I hope I said it correctly, Cadiz. This foundation does come in, I want to say 37 shades or 40 shades, and I always wear the same shade across NARS foundations, just across the board. So I do think if you know your shade in the NARS foundation, I would suggest getting that shade in the Light Reflecting Foundation. So this foundation is going to aim to literally just make the face look so radiant based on the technology that's in it that will allow for light to bounce off the foundation and really make the face look perfected. It's going to diminish pores, fine lines and wrinkles, and it's going to leave just an overall flawless look on the face based on its claims. This foundation also has a good solid medium coverage, and like we've been saying, the finish is going to be radiant. So when looking at both of these foundations on my face, and sorry that I have a Reels here showing you the application because I just couldn't figure out how to do both at the same time, so here we are. Looking at them on the face, I feel like after initial application, NARS looks so smooth and just like silky on the skin. Like I feel like my skin looked like it had like a filter on it. It just looks so smooth and soft. The Charlotte Tilbury though, let's not sleep on her either. She looks really beautiful as well. Like it looks very natural on the skin, not too dewy or anything like that. It looks like the foundation really melted into the skin, and I thought both sides looked really pretty. So then I wanted to see what they look like in flash photography, and taking a picture, both sides look great. There's no flashback, just with the foundations on my face. So then I was like, let me see what it looks like in natural lighting in another part of my house. Once again, I thought both sides just looked so beautiful, but you do see more light bouncing off of the NARS side compared to the Charlotte Tilbury side. And then I had to go outside. It's so bright outside, so my eyes are squinting, and both sides just look like a cup of water is sitting on my face. They both look so hydrated, so beautiful, and I was like, this is gonna be hard because both sides really are serving They are really serving. But if I'm being particular, I do think the NARS side just comes off more smooth. It comes off a little bit more flawless than the Charlotte Tilbury side. Okay, so then I was like, let's put on the powders, because remember I told you all that I decluttered the Dior No Powder Powder? I did. I felt like I just couldn't get nothing from it. I was like, I don't know why people love this powder. Like, it does nothing for me. And I realized I was doing it wrong in terms of applying it to the face. I was using a brush, and I really needed to use a sponge. So thank you, Gabe Loves Makeup. You all know I love him at this point. I've mentioned him probably every other video. Go ahead and follow him. He's an amazing makeup artist. He's been in the industry for over 30 years, and I've learned so much from him. So he was like, hey, try it with a sponge. And I was like, all right. So I took my sponge from my La Mer Powder Foundation, and I used the same sponge, just, you know, flip the different sides for both of these powders here. I decided to use the Dior powder on the NARS side, and then I used the NARS powder on the Charlotte Tilbury side. I flipped them because I was like, of course, my assumption would be that the NARS powder is gonna look beautiful across the NARS foundation. That would just make sense. So I wanted to see, you know, how good does this NARS powder work on a foundation that is not NARS? And that's why I did that way. So first went in with the NARS Light Reflecting Powder. I have the shade Shore, and I didn't use the sponge in here because I used it when I was initially reviewing it, and I felt like it was just too dirty, so I didn't want to use that sponge, so that's why I didn't use it. So went in with my sponge from the La Mer Powder Foundation, and I started to just press it into the skin, and I felt like pressing motion was the better way to apply these types of powders, because initially when I applied this powder and I swiped it, I got way too much coverage, and then I felt like it was picking up my foundation, and it just, I didn't like the swiping motion. So I decided, let's press the powder into the face, and I was like, okay, this is looking really, really nice. Like, I loved how it looked as I was pressing the powder into the face. I felt like we weren't taking too much of the radiance from the Charlotte Tilbury foundation away. However, we were setting the foundation, and I was like, okay, I see the pores being diminished, because this powder is supposed to diminish pores, also allow for light to reflect off the face, and basically do essentially what the foundation does in powder form. So pressed it into the skin, and I was like, okay, this looks really nice. And I put it all over this side of the face. So then flipped over the sponge, went in with the Dior No Powder Powder, and I started to press this into the face, and I was like, you better stop it right now. Oh my goodness me. I get the hype of this foundation, and I just want to apologize for steering y'all wrong if you ever listened to me and did not purchase this powder because I said I didn't really like it. I have to apologize. It was the application. I was so wrong. This powder, as I was pressing it into the skin, I was like, you better stop it. It looks phenomenal. I have no words. It literally blurs the pores, like even more so than the foundation was doing. And when looking at my skin up close, like you see less pores on this side compared to this side of my face, and everything just looks even more filtered. Dior, you knew what you were doing. I just didn't. Oh my gosh. So I was like, all right, we got to see this in different lighting. We got to do flash photography. We got to do all the things. So when I did flash photography, I did notice that the Dior powder, which I forgot to tell you what shade I have shade 3N. This powder is a little too light to be all over my face. So looking at it in like natural lighting and the sunlight, we don't see that. But flash photography, I feel like we see it. I feel like we're just bordering the line of being a little ashy. So I think this shade is going to look better under my eye. And then I need to pick up another shade, which I will. I will probably get 4N because that's typically what I wear in Dior foundations. I'll get 4N for my actual face so that if I were to wear this powder and have flash photography taken, I don't feel like, you know, just a little Casper-ish. Like, I don't want to look like that. So I did notice that with flash photography. I don't feel like that was flashed back. I just felt like this was just a little too light. Looking at the NARS and flash photography, I think this one looked really pretty because this one does look closer to my skin tone. There was no flashback, which this is supposed to be like flashback resistant. It's also supposed to be, it doesn't change the color of your foundation as well. And I think this side looked really, really pretty in flash photography. As an FYI, I did set my under eye with the Cashapp powder in the shade Comfy. So then went into natural lighting, and I was like, both sides look really pretty, but I feel like you can see just the effortless smoothing effect of the Dior No Powder Powder on the NARS side compared to the Charlotte Tilbury side. Taking us outside in bright light, I feel like once again, both sides look amazing, but like you just keep coming back to this NARS and Dior combination, and you're just like, ugh, or at least I'm just like, yes, these two together, honey child. Whew. Okay, so we are here. I've had both of these foundations on my face. I don't even know what time it is, but I've had both of these foundations on my face, I would say for about an hour and a half. Yes, about an hour and a half to 2 hours, no more than 2 hours. Powders I've had on my face for probably about an hour at this point. So I cannot wait to check back in at the end of the day and share with you my final thoughts. When I came in close to see the footage of both of the foundations and powders on my face, I was just like, man, this is gonna be some stiff competition, because even though initially I'm leaning toward NARS and Dior compared to Charlotte Tilbury and NARS, you can't sleep on Charlotte Tilbury and NARS either. These are some beautiful products on the face. And so I think when we get at the end of the day, we really have to like look at these minutely and see, first of all, which one would be better for you, but based on your preferences, what you might like and so forth. But I'm here for both so far. So I will check back in at the end of the day to share with you my final thoughts. Ooh, and I cannot wait. So stay tuned. Okay, so we are back. It is the end of the day, and I've had both of these foundations and powders on for over 9 hours. So let's come in a little close so we can see what we're looking like and how things have worn. So remember, this is Charlotte Tilbury with the NARS Light Reflecting Powder on top, and then we have the Light Reflecting Foundation from NARS with the Dior No Powder Powder. And I'm just gonna say it, okay? This Dior and NARS combination over here, oh, so flawless. Like, look at my pores here. We basically don't see them at all. And you can see a little bit more of my pores and my texture on this side of my face. Even down right here on my chin where I have like some acne that's still trying to heal, I've got a bump here. I don't really have as much on this side, but I feel like everything just looks so smooth on this side of the face. This side looks really pretty and it looks radiant, but it's not as flawless. It's not as, it's just not as flawless. All day I kept looking at my face and I was like, I could not get over how perfected this side looked. I couldn't believe it. And when I posted my reels on Instagram, every last person that commented said NARS, 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 NARS. Like, and that was before applying the powder. It just looks so silky on the skin. Now what I want to do is I want to touch up with both of the powders, because I do want to see, can we use these powders as touching up powders, or are they just going to be good for initially setting the face? In a nutshell, are these powders going to mesh well with the oils that I have on my face, or are they not? Because I do have some oils that are breaking through right along here. We could touch up along the forehead, even on the chin, so basically my T-zone area. And I just want to see how they look after so much of a day's worth of wear. I did wear my mask and I put it on a few times, took it off a few times. I did have some transfer of the foundations on my mask, and neither foundation is saying that it's going to be transfer resistant. I don't see any like patchiness coming through from, the foundations wearing off so much. You're gonna get transfer onto your mask, but I really feel like the NARS foundation held up so well. Charlotte held up pretty good too. Like I said, I don't really feel like I see any, too many gaps or fading of the foundations, but I would say NARS still held up better than Charlotte. So I'm going to get the same sponge that I used earlier, and I'm just gonna use the opposite side that theoretically it's not dirty, about this much. And I made the mistake when I initially reviewed this powder and foundation by like putting too much on. So I'm just going to put just some here and lightly press it. And I just don't like this to touch up with. So I'm gonna come in close, so hopefully you can see this. Y'all see those lines right here? And I feel like it's coming from like where the corner of the sponge is hitting my face. I just don't like this as a touching up powder. I think it's nice for like initially applying, but it's not a touch-up powder. And for me, you know, I can live with that because I typically don't touch up with powder throughout the day. I just let it be, and if I have to blot, I'll just take some tissue and blot. But no, it's not. So now let's try Dior's No Powder Powder. So took the powder and press it in. And that looks better. Yeah, this powder is something. This is something special. Like, wow, I'm really just blown away. I'm just really blown away. I'm just gonna touch up the rest of my face with this powder. I'm gonna go over the Charlotte side. To just kind of even things out. I'm just really blown away by how flawless this looks. This powder, it's just, wow. Thank you so much, Gabe, for telling me to use a sponge. And not even just Gabe. When I was going through my declutter video, when I was talking about, you know, favorite powders, when I did that video, I kept hearing from all of you all like, this Dior No Powder Powder was like your favorite powder. And I was just like, you know what? It has to be me, because too many people are saying that they love it. It was in too many people's favorites, you know, from the year. It has to be me, and it was. So I'm so glad it was me. I am never too ashamed to say I was wrong. I made a mistake. You know, I'm not perfect, and I am glad when I am proven wrong. So I'm definitely saying that the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation is a surefire, hands down winner for me. This foundation, it is everything. It is so perfecting and flawless. Those are like the best words to describe this foundation. One of you all commented on my reels today, and I was so glad that she left the comment. She said that she lives in Florida. She tried both the Charlotte Tilbury foundation and this foundation on her more oily skin, and she said that the NARS held up so much better on her skin throughout the day, even under the Florida heat. She said that the Charlotte Tilbury looked really nice, but it did not hold up as well as NARS. So I was so glad that she left that comment, because I don't really have oily skin. Where I live at right now, it's very cold, so I'm not able to give you all that feedback as to, do I think it will last well on oilier skin and having longevity. So based on what she said that this lasted very well on her skin, even through the Florida heat. And I've heard reviews of people who have very dry skin who love this. I think this is just an all-around solid foundation for all skin types, and I would highly suggest you give it a try if you're interested in it. And if you have more oily skin, combination oily, and you like a more matte look, just use a mattifying primer, set it with the powder, and I think you will just really love it. With Charlotte Tilbury, I would say that this is definitely going to be more suitable for people who have more dry skin to maybe normal skin. Maybe combination oily, as long as you don't mind some radiance and kind of dew coming through. I feel like that at the end of the day, this side did look, if I could say, a little more dewy, but I think it still looked very beautiful. I still really like this foundation, and I will obviously keep using it, but I just know if I need a more perfected look, like NARS, hands down, is the one that I'm gonna reach for. I think this one is a really good, like, happy medium type of foundation from the foundations that Charlotte Tilbury already has, especially with her Airbrush Flawless foundation. Although that one does have a more flawless finish, it's so matte. It's definitely not going to be one that a lot of people might like. And I feel like with this one, like I said, even if you have maybe combination skin, if you don't mind some radiance coming through, use your mattifying primers and your powders, you might really enjoy this one as well. I would say if you have maybe like a lot of pores and things like that, this may not be the foundation that you want, simply because if you do not use a pore filling primer, I do think it will accentuate your pores. I do know that this did look quite nice over my texture, because when I tried this foundation out, my texture was more pronounced, and I remember liking how it looked all over the face. So I would just say if you have pores, you know, just use a pore filling primer and you should be good to go. So guys, those are my thoughts on these two foundations and both of these powders. Hands down, Dior No Powder Powder is like surefire winner for me. This NARS powder, you know, the more I use it, I'm just kind of like about it. It's nice, and like I said, you know, initially applying it to the skin, I think it looks really pretty, but I just wish it wouldn't like cake up like it does if you're trying to reapply it, at least the way I've been doing it. And maybe I need to try reapplying it with a brush. I think I did though in my initial video. I initially applied it with a sponge and I tried to fix it with a brush. So I'll keep playing around with this. I'll update you all in my January favorites video as to like my final thoughts on this. I think this one is okay, and I think this one probably would work best for people who have more like dry skin. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like once your oils come through, this can get a little sticky, and that can definitely mess up your base and just not make it look as flawless. So let me know your thoughts. If you like this powder and you do have more oily skin, tell us the way that you use it, because once again, it could be me and my application. I'm so open to, you know, being wrong when it comes to this. I think this is a nice powder, but as of right now, it's definitely not going to be one that I would want to repurchase, or that I would say like no matter what, I really think you could enjoy it. I think you would get much better use out of the Dior No Powder Powder, because this one does seem like a for everybody, for all skin types of powder. So let me know your thoughts down below as to what you think of the foundations and the powders. Which powder foundation do you like better? I'd love to know all your thoughts down below. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I don't know why make it all the way through this video, get to the end and not subscribe, okay? I'm just gonna ask you to go ahead on and subscribe, because we'd love to have you as part of the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.